So, you want to build a Golgari deck and in another theme than Reanimation? Let's build Cleopatra. So, Cleopatra, a 2/4 human noble, which says at the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other target legendary creatures. And whenever another legendary creature with counter on it dies, draw a card for each counter on it. You lose 2 life. So basically a lot of counters and a lot of card draw. So the purpose of this theme is pretty straightforward. Build a lot of legendary creatures, and those legendary creatures are gonna build us a lot of counters. But let's be honest, first of all, it's to show off your new set of dice. We all know this. You got those little shiny dice, you've just got them out of the box and you want to show them. This is why you build a Golgari counter deck, right? We're gonna have a lot of counters, so we're gonna have constant pressure. We're gonna get a lot of mana and a lot of card draw. We're gonna build counters with cards like Mazarek, Arwen and Bristly Bales. Multiple ways to give us counters, but most of all we'll get the most efficient one, so we can see what our deck does every single game. We're gonna get card draw by sacking our own creatures, of course, but also other triggers which double this, like Disciple of Bolas, Rankle, Reiki and Fogre. And Fogre is a pretty awesome one for those who have already seen it. You know what it does. It gives a lot of counters on Fogre itself, and then when it dies, it basically doubles the Cleopatra. And lastly, these counters are gonna give us a lot of ramp as well, and cards like Cammy of Whispered Hopes, Marwyn, and yeah, some pretty fun ones like Ordeal of Nylea and Kodama of the West Tree, which also gives trample. So now when everything goes well, we get a big board state. We either swing out or we sack it all, so we can get a lot of cards and a lot of mana, and reanimate our cards so we can do it all over again with Living Death or Rise of the Dark Realms. So now you've got a pretty good idea of what this deck does and what it excels at. Let's see specifically what the ratios should be. Well, usually you've got about 10 to 12 card draw, 10 removal, 10 ramp cards, 2 to 3 board wipes. This deck already draws a lot of cards, so you can go down on the card draw, or you can make it your main goal to draw cards and to get things in the graveyard by just playing it or discarding it. So you can either go higher on the card advantage. That is what I would suggest. Just go to 12 or 13, not 15 or higher. That would be too much, because we also need the themed cards and the ramp. Removal, I would stick around 10, because we just want to do our own thing, but also get the chance to remove something if it really gets in the way. 10 ramp cards and 3 board wipes. You could go higher on the board wipes, because we gotta sack it all anyway. If you got some slots over, I highly recommend putting in some more board wipes. It's not really fun though, keep that in mind. So now we got 37 lands, plus let's say those 35 slots for removal, ramp, card draw and board wipe. So we've got about 27 slots left. Every deck should have around 25 to 30 cards of what this theme wants to do. And our deck can also use ramp and card draw cards to go with our theme. So this shouldn't be too hard for us. After we fill these slots, we will also want some protection and or reanimate. So now that you know what should be in the deck, let's go over the deck and see how I built this and what I would recommend for you. So in the end, we got 24 cards that either give counters or double the counters or give an extra counter. Cards like Arwen, Bristly Bale and Drenna, they make a lot of counters, and cards like Branching Evolution, Peer and Kami, they double the counters or just give one extra. Also, Kami makes a lot of mana. Some cards fill both slots, which makes our deck even more consistent. The card advantage, we try to keep it in theme as possible, because this is where it really shines. So you have Fogre, Braids, Glissa, Yawgmoth, Rankle, and each one of them is a legendary creature. So onto land, there's nothing too special. A lot of Golgari lands, of course, and some lands to sacrifice creatures in Phyrexian Tower and High Market. We've got protection, of course. My favorite one is Cauldron of Souls. With this one, we can make our creatures come back every turn and get the card draw train rolling again. If you've also got an Ozolith, you know where I'm getting at. For ramp, try to keep in mind that you need a couple of ramp cards just to get to your commander, like Dark Ritual, Mana Dorks, and you need some ramp cards that will make a lot of mana in the late game, let's say turn 6, 7, 8, to close our games. So we have Kami, Marwyn, and Rishkar, which can make a lot of mana every turn. We've also got Ashnet's Altar, which if you've got a lot of legendary creatures and Cauldron of Souls, you can do it every turn over and over, get a lot of value. Then our Reanimate package is like our last way out. If we can't seem to protect it, or we just need to wipe the board, we can get it all in the graveyard. Living Death, Rise of the Dark Realms, or Shieldred's Backside will all get our own creatures back on the board. Removal is pretty much your straightforward. I like to get a little bit creative there with cards like Innocent Blood, Kenrid's Transformation, Lignify, Terra Sunder, and Shieldred's Edict, but basically it's just choose your favorites. And we have a couple of sec outlets, the 2 lands, which I named before, the Ashnet's Altar, of course, for a lot of ramp, and we have 3 legendary creatures to take up our legendary count, but also these really give a lot of value. So there you have it. This is how you build a consistent and unique Golgari counters deck. If you want to get even more unique, I have a few suggestions for you. First of all, just build your deck without looking at any website. Just go through your own folders and see which cards you like. If you don't have the time or you don't have that many cards yet, I would suggest building your deck from, let's say, Moxfield or EDH Rec, but ignore all the staples. Just put all the fun ones in there and try to get rid of all the staples. And then when you're around 90 cards and you really need a little more consistency, you can add those in, but really at the last moment. Another fun recommendation I could give you here is to build a deck with only legendary creatures. So let's say you get around 50 or even 60 legendary creatures. Yeah, you know your deck's gonna do what it's supposed to do. It might be a little less explosive or a little less likely to close the game, but you'll be a lot more creative and see something different every single game. Sounds like a lot of fun to me. So one final part which most deck tech episodes don't go over, which I find quite annoying, is how to play this deck. Obviously you have a particular strategy in mind when building, but when looking at your opening hand and thinking about when to mulligan, this might help. Maybe you've heard of the archetypes before: aggro, control, and combo. Commander is so complex that we usually have a hybrid, so either aggro control, mid-range, aggro combo, or combo control, or every 3, but basically you're not doing anything really good. So the hybrid usually takes 2 of those. So the way that I've built this deck is aggro combo. So you want to have your average CMC as low as possible, but also have some ways to keep your engine rolling again and again, but without too much control. So really aggro and combo to just finish the job, either with a lot of card draw or just with a lot of power, like you're gonna do with a lot of counters. When you're looking at your first 7, as we are aggro, we want to get our legendary creatures out as fast as possible, and we get the combo out later, but without protection. So this was my take on Cleopatra. If I've missed any cards, please let me know. And also if you would like me to go over some other parts of deck building, please let me know. Until then, bye!